What started me on this path was a near-death experience. I was an avid athlete. I just loved sports. It was my escape from a very difficult childhood, and it was also a way to feel valued. So I did everything I could to excel. I played and loved my teammates, and we were good, and I was beating all the teams as a pitcher, and we kept playing older kids. So finally we reached an age of kids where there was a lot of anger. And when we won that game, that team went after my bicycle with their baseball bats. And I did this crazy thing and grabbed a bat and went after them to protect my bike, because that was how you got around. It was important. So they began to beat me with the baseball bat. And I started to leave my body. Someone said, if we hit him anymore, he'll die. And for some reason, they all stopped. And then I got up and I started getting punched around in a circle. Something in my will said, you're not going to knock me down. So I just took it, and I kept getting knocked around. Finally, they gave up. I went home and I slept for 16 hours. I looked at my parents coming in. They were watching TV and nobody said anything. And I made this decision then that I was really alone. And that was important because I had to do things on my own. It was a spurring on to not looking outside as much as I might have. I got a scholarship to college. I was probably going to play professional baseball. But a series of injuries happened my senior year in football. And my baseball changed. And it was at that point that I started looking for some other way to find value in the world. And by this time I was in the military, and I would see all these guys coming back from Vietnam, and I would be in charge of the clinic that they were coming into. I wasn't a doctor, I was the admin officer. They were all just, trashed by war. And it just hit me, the impermanence of everything. And so I went on a spiritual path. I started transcendental meditation. I looked at all this stuff and I just thought, how can I make a difference in this world? And I could do really well in an ashram type of setting, but put me in a relationship and I didn't do very well. And I made a mess of things. And I had been to all kinds of therapy and nothing had worked. I had also done many spiritual paths to try and find how I could become a better human, not just a sort of spiritual guy. I also was very much into conspiracy theory. So I was trying to unplug. And anyway, the IRS and the Treasury Department want to make an example. So I went to prison. I got to prison that first night with those cell doors clinging behind me. And it was a very cold night, 8 below outside in a 1930s prison. And nothing could calm me. I've lost everything. My license to practice as a chiropractor and a naturopath. No possessions, no finances. And I've got a 15-month sentence. And a little voice inside said, if you resist this, you will suffer more than you have ever suffered. And that meant a lot because I had suffered a lot. So, okay, what are my options? There aren't many except to go towards this somehow. And I started to breathe in my terror. And I would deeply, deeply go into it until it would feel like it would kill me. And then I would surrender to it, and I would surrender to the sounds and let them move through my body. And after about 5 hours, the cell started to glow. And the experience of beauty deep inside was more than I'd ever experienced, with some pretty amazing teachers. And I bowed very deeply when I left and realized that I had something I could share based on a deep experience of heaven not being some change out here, but a deeper going towards whatever pain, contraction inside. This path has given me a greater sense of trust in life where I didn't have much.